The backlog is a strange thing. It seems that no matter how large it gets, I insist on making it larger. Today, I'm bringing you a handful of puzzle games, most of which came out of a humble puzzle bundle that recently went live just a couple weeks ago. I love puzzle games, so I just couldn't resist. But one puzzle I can't figure out is why you haven't liked the video, left a comment, and subscribed to the channel yet. It really makes no sense. I just can't figure it out. Now, of course, it is too late to get the bundle that I'm talking about today, but I'm still gonna tell you about it and if I think it was worth it or not. Okay, so the first game that I want to talk about wasn't actually in the bundle, but I figured it would be good to get it out of the way first. And it is still a puzzle game, so we're on brand, okay? House of Da Vinci took the Room series of puzzle games and thought, yeah, we can just copy that. And they copied it. The game is a series of almost escape room type puzzles. There's usually some objects in the room that you have to manipulate to find hidden keys and other objects, which then let you further explore the room you're in or unlock new pieces of the different bigger objects in the room. It is a nice little feedback loop for puzzles, and I really generally love this type of game. The Room games, if you've never played the Room games, they are incredible. In comparison to those games, I did find this one a little lacking. I thought the puzzles were just a little more obtuse. Overall, it is still a fairly solid puzzle experience. My main complaint actually is with the controls of the game. Everything felt very floaty to control, especially the objects that rotated or moved around. Normally, when you have objects like those, you would expect them to kind of lock into place as you rotate them, like into one of 8 or so positions, say, when you're rotating something. But they didn't do that here and just let them move freely, and it just didn't work. It never felt like I was lining things up correctly, like I needed to be too precise, and with it being so floaty, it felt like no matter how exact I was trying to be, it just wasn't exact enough. And that just made me feel frustrated because I knew what I wanted to do, I knew what I was trying to do. It just felt like the game wasn't necessarily letting me. If you're a fan of the Room games and are looking for more, this is definitely a good pickup, especially if it's on sale. But if you have not played the Room games, you should definitely play those first. Those are a much more polished experience. For a rating, I would give this a closet out of 5. While it ended up not being the game for me, I can definitely see why Dorfromantik is so highly rated on Steam. The game tasks you with building a world, one tile at a time. Each tile can have a number of different biomes on it, and your goal is to line those up with the similar ones that you've already placed on your map, to make them bigger or combine certain things. The game is pretty fluid. As you go, you are given new objectives to complete, and as you complete them, you just keep going. It's kind of an endless type game in that regard. It's simple, but it can be effective. Planning out the world and working with the pieces you get is fun, but for me it didn't really hold my attention very long. Definitely seems to be kind of a, like, your mileage will vary sort of thing, but if it sounds appealing and if it sounds like it's up your alley, then I could definitely see someone really losing a lot of time to this game, and I would give it a tile out of 5. I've always loved games that play with your perspective. The whole MC Escher approach to map design really just does it for me. It doesn't really matter about the rest of the game, you know? It's like, who cares about the gameplay if I can just be walking on, like, this bridge, but now I'm on the side of a building because of perspective and all that? I don't know. It's just cool to me. Monument Valley offers this in spades. While it has some I would say, really extremely basic and simple puzzles for you to complete that play on the perspectives of the maps. The games are short but sweet. I enjoyed them. I got through both in about 3 hours. Was just having a fun time. No, they're not challenging, but it's satisfying. It's hard to describe. I don't know. It's still satisfying to move about these cool maps with the cool perspective. The maps are, I thought, interesting, well designed. They had pretty colors, nice sounds. You know, the games are definitely style over substance, but I think that can work sometimes, and this might be one such example. And for a rating, I would give it a rainbow out of 5. Darq is one of the most revolutionary and groundbreaking games I have ever played. You start the game off and it seems to be one of your typical ripoffs of the walk to the right genre of games. I've talked about them before. This fits just like Inside, Limbo, those kinds of games, right? It's a spooky atmosphere. You've got some basic puzzles to overcome. Everything's going fine. But then, all of a sudden, you start moving to the left. I know. Crazy. Hopefully you were sitting down for that. And overall, I would say this is a valid entry into this sort of genre of game. I thought it had a pretty effective atmosphere with some tense moments as well. I thought the puzzles were pretty solid. Nothing too challenging, but nothing too mindless either. The game does have a couple enemies, monsters that you encounter as well, but they are terrible, and luckily they're pretty few and far between. There's only a couple throughout the game, and this is because you can't fight them or anything. They just shamble around and you hide from them and then wait for them to walk past you and then kind of sneak past them. It's dumb. They really just serve as a roadblock that forces you to stop moving for a few seconds while you wait for them to go past you. And that's annoying to me. That doesn't add any value to the game. I don't feel like I'm doing anything. I'm just waiting. It interrupts the flow of the puzzles and exploring the little areas. There's only a handful of maps to play through, and they're all fairly short, but they are pretty unique in setting, which keeps the game feeling fresh throughout its runtime. For a rating, I would give this a 4 directions out of 5. Wow, puzzles. Isn't it so fun to talk about puzzles? Did you guys have fun? I had fun. If you were lucky enough to get that Humble Bundle back when it was available to get, hopefully this video encourages you to give some of those games a try. If it did, let me know in the comments below. Don't leave these games languishing in the backlog, but if you're going to, also tell me why. Now, if you liked the video, do be sure to click the like button, subscribe to the channel, maybe send it to somebody that you think might like it as well. And I'll see you all with the next video.